Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bettina Ray. I'm a yoga teacher. I specialise in fertility and pregnancy, birth and early motherhood. And today I just want to talk to you about a question I've been getting a lot, which is how we went from having 3 losses in a row to conceiving and carrying this beautiful baby boy who's currently staring at me with one eye open. Before I get into today's video, I ummed and ahed about doing videos with Luca in it when it's on the topic of fertility, because I know when you're trying to conceive and it's not going well, how triggering seeing pregnant bellies are and new babies, and I know it's really hard to see. And if you're in that place, I totally understand. Feel free to switch off this video, watch one of my others, do one of my fertility yoga classes instead. I'll link one above. Also, I hope that you see the fact that Luca is here with me. He's currently 6 weeks old. I hope that you can see it as a sign of hope, that we maybe were in a similar situation to you. I don't know what your journey or your story involves. We definitely had a really rough 1.5 to 2 years, those 3 losses. And I definitely got to that place where I struggled seeing new babies being born and pregnancy announcements, and I just felt like, why not us? And it was really hard. So please know that I've been there, and I hope that you see Luca here as a sign of hope. If you don't know our story, you might like to go and check out a video that I did on our fertility journey. I'll link it above. Before I get into answering the question that I've been getting about how we came to this beautiful place after the 3 losses that we went through. So it's funny, I get this question all the time now, and sometimes I want to say, I don't even know how we got out of it, which is not entirely true, but it sort of feels like, if I think back to where I was when I was really in the darkest place, when we'd lost that 3rd baby, and I think to where I am now, I feel totally different. And I know when I was in that really dark place, I just felt like, I am never going to get out of this. I am never going to be happy again. It just felt really hard, it really sucked, and it just felt so unfair. So sometimes I want to say I don't know how I got out of it, but I do. And it was little by little. There was no big, I woke up one day and knew all the answers or anything like that. So after we lost our 3rd baby, we both decided it was time for us to stop trying, and we really needed to get that mental, physical, emotional, spiritual break from thinking about babies, thinking about trying to fall pregnant, thinking about losses, grieving losses. We just needed to not be in baby land any longer and just get back to living and doing things for the sake of that. And for me in particular, I really needed to stop focusing and obsessing on trying to make our 3rd baby and feeling like I was just failing. I have spoken about taking a break before. I know that's a question I also get, so I'll link that video above as well. If you're thinking about taking a break from trying to conceive, I thoroughly recommend it. It was the best thing that we did, but because of the things that we did while we're on that break, which is what I want to talk about today. So we decided enough was enough. We couldn't do it anymore, and we didn't know if we'd go back to trying. I think that was an important part of our break, in that we said, we're done for now, possibly forever. Because for me, it was really important, I think, that I came to a place where I could accept that maybe my 2 boys was all I was ever going to have, that was our family, and coming to a place where I was really happy with that and happy with our life. And if you've been following me for a while on my blog, you'll know that in that time, I decided I would write a happy list. And it literally was just a list of things I wanted to do to make myself happy. Like, one was doing some aerial yoga where you're on the silks and flying, buy new linen for my bed, like make that a really beautiful space. Anyone who has tried to conceive for a long time or had trouble knows that sometimes that space can become a little bit less than romantic, and the focus is more on what you're trying to do rather than enjoying the experience. So that linen was kind of a way of bringing the love back, in a way, making it a really nice space that we wanted to be. Other things on the list were just like go on a date, take a weekend away with my husband. So doing things that just we wanted to do. And I wrote this as for myself. Obviously my husband was involved in some of the things, but it was just for me, and there was no purpose to it. It was not productive. It was not about work. It was not about my family or our home. It was just about making myself happy. And that really shifted my focus. Prior to that, for the last probably 1.5 years, my focus had been trying to have a baby, and I'd sort of let go of everything else and I'd forgotten to just enjoy living. And so this happy list really helped me to get back to, oh yeah, like life is really enjoyable and I am really lucky in what I have, and I really found that deep gratitude for my life as it was. And I think that was really important for us going forward, that I had to come to that place. So some other things that we did, I had started counseling after our first loss actually, but it wasn't until after our third that I started going really regularly, and I guess I really committed to, okay, I've got some shit to work through, and that's what I did with my counselor. My counselor was amazing. She was trained in Western psychology, but also in energetics. So she was also doing energy work with me. She was very spiritual, very connected, and just, I can't even explain how onto everything it was. Like there was nothing I could hide from her. And I found that really helpful. It wasn't just about what was going on in here, it was really about what was going on in my heart, in my emotions, in my spirit. And that for me really worked. So find a counselor that works for you if you are looking for someone. You might prefer just someone who works with the head, but for me, that holistic approach really worked. So another thing that we did after losing the third baby is we went and saw a naturopath. So she started looking into my deficiencies. So I had huge adrenal fatigue, which I think is really common just in this world in general, but after losing 3 babies, the physical toll that takes on your body, as well as the mental and emotional toll, is huge. And I don't think it's surprising that my adrenals were suffering. So we worked on getting them healthy, really worked on de-stressing. So she gave me some supplements, but also I used, of course, turned to my yoga and meditation and those practices really heavily at this time to bring me down from that stress. So I started doing things like visualization. So every morning I had this really nice routine going. Somebody has stopped me from doing that routine now, but I hope to get back into it once he starts sleeping a little bit better. So yeah, I would get up every morning, I would do some journaling, so kind of just dump all the stuff out of my head onto paper. I would do a bit of a visualization. So I was visualizing creating a baby, creating life, visualizing the future I wanted. So I was visualizing a family with 3 children, and I was visualizing the life that I wanted to make. This probably came in more so once we started trying again, but focusing on what I wanted to create in my life rather than focusing on the worst case scenario, which I kind of had just been doing on repeat before this when I wasn't really intentional with where my thoughts were going. I'd also do a meditation in that little morning routine, just clear my thoughts a little, and I'd do some yoga. So to start with, it was just moving in a way that felt good. And then once we started trying again, I was doing yoga that was obviously helping with fertility. So following the different stages of the cycle, the different energies of the cycle, so that I could do poses that worked with my body during those times. So if you're interested in any of that, coming down from the stress of trying to conceive, any fertility yoga for the different stages of the cycle, so what to do during your 2-week wait, which is a really big one that comes up a lot, you should check out my 28-day fertility yoga course. So that has the 4 classes for the different stages of the cycle. And it also has videos week by week to take you through these practices to kind of calm down and focus back on you're happy again and really enjoying the process and not being stressed out by it. You can also get the 4 classes as a standalone if you don't want the rest of the course as well. So check those out. I'll link them below. So as well as working with the naturopath and taking some supplements to calm my nervous system down, I also really worked on my diet. So I quit gluten for a while there because I found that my body didn't really like it. And I'm not saying go and quit gluten because it may be fine for your body. I really recommend going to see someone who can test what's working in your body. As it turns out, we found out through some other testing that my GP was doing, just some general fertility testing that they do, which by the way I had to ask for. They don't just necessarily do it, which now seems crazy because I feel like, to me, the physical health of your body should be one of the first things they test. They, of course, looked at my reproductive system, but I'd already had 2 children, so nothing had changed in that time. It didn't really seem like the obvious choice. The thing that had changed, of course, was my body was depleted. I'd had 2 babies, I'd breastfed them. So now it seems obvious that they looked into these sorts of nutrient deficiency. But after the first loss, I guess I just didn't really stop long enough to think about that. So anyway, we asked for some testing. It turned out I have the MTHFR gene mutation, which interferes with how you use folate in the body. Interestingly, I found out that it's almost like a chain reaction with the nutrients that you use in the body. So if you can't process this vitamin, then things along the chain sort of stop working. So how it affected my body, I believe, is that I was so depleted, even though I was eating reasonably well prior to this, because my body couldn't actually take in the folate that I was having in these prenatal vitamins, which often it's an artificial folate. So I switched to one that has a methylated version of folate, which my body can actually digest. Also, I made sure I was eating lots of spinach and all those foods that have natural sources of folate, because the body can actually use those. So that was an interesting one. Just starting to learn more about my body, what my body liked and didn't like. I gave up coffee. I'll link it above if you want to watch that video. As I started to unpack and realize how anxious I'd been and how stressed, and just understanding my nervous system more, I realized that caffeine was really not helping me. I quit coffee because I really could feel that cortisol, that stress hormone in my body, that adrenaline happening as soon as I had a cup of coffee. So before you go out and quit any of these things, though, I really recommend working with someone to go through all your testing for just things like iron and all your hormones. So testing at different stages of the cycle to see if your hormones are rising and falling as they should, see if you are deficient in any areas, and making sure that these things that you're having and the food that you're eating is working with your body, not against it. So don't just quit because I quit. I don't think fertility is a one size fits all. I really think there's like all these little jigsaw pieces that you have to piece together for yourself. So I also started charting my cycle to understand where in my cycle I ovulated, but also just to really understand myself. Turns out that I ovulate really late, which if you talk to some people, they see that as a bad thing. But in the end, I conceived him on a really late ovulation. And I just knew in my body, because I'd been following my cycle for quite a few months, I felt really good. I didn't feel stressed. I was feeling really positive from all the visualization and meditation that I'd been doing. And I just knew that it was right. And I think that's what charting your cycle should give you: an understanding of your body, a trust in your body, and hopefully connect you to that knowing that you can conceive and carry a healthy baby. So the final thing that I did that I think really helped us get here was mantra and positive affirmations. I know for some people this can sound a little woo-woo, but I'm hoping that if you're on my channel anyway, that you're okay with that sort of stuff. So I use positive affirmation and mantras basically throughout my entire day once we started trying again, especially. So I would use it in the morning when I was doing my yoga practice. So I would have a yoga practice depending on what stage of the cycle I was at, and I'd be using a mantra or affirmation that suited that stage. So for example, if I was ovulating, I would be focusing on my body is open and ready to conceive a healthy baby, or I'm healthy and strong and ready to conceive a healthy baby. And all it does is it just directs your thoughts and your focus onto what you want to create, rather than being stuck in, oh my God, I've had 3 losses, I'm never going to conceive a healthy baby, there's something wrong with me. And all that does is make you feel stressed and anxious, like it's never going to happen. And your body responds to that. So it thinks that there's some big danger. So it releases adrenaline, it releases stress hormone, and it makes your body less likely to conceive, because your body is created, biologically created, to not create life when there's stress, because that means there's danger. It doesn't want to create a new baby when there's stresses around. So I think it's really important to flood your body with all those good feelings. Imagining conceiving a baby, imagine getting big and round, imagine giving birth. That helps to cement your body in the experience and create what it is that you're imagining. I hope that explains to you what we did to get from a place where we'd really lost hope to where we are now with this beautiful, healthy baby boy in our arms. It was a really long journey. I think it's really important to take a step back, especially if you're probably where you are now, which is looking for answers. It's probably why I've come across my channel. I found at one point I was just like looking everywhere for all the answers. And it wasn't until I really came back to these practices, which in a way stopped me looking. I kind of got to that place where I trusted that I'd done enough physically. So I'd done the physical stuff with the naturopath and the doctor. There was really nothing obviously wrong with me. It had become something that I just needed to overcome myself. And I started to trust my body again. And I really worked with my nervous system to calm down. And I think that's what got us to where we are, really starting to tune in, stop looking outside for all the answers, and come back to where it's created, which is in your body, within you. So I hope this helped. I hope it wasn't just one long rambling video for you. Like I said, it's only 6 weeks. My brain is still a little bit scrambled, running on very little sleep, but gratefully so. I wish you the best of luck in your journey. I know how hard it is. I know the devastation of getting your period month after month, of losing babies, of feeling like you're not getting anywhere and it's never going to happen. My best advice is take a deep breath, do something that you enjoy, look after yourself, and start trusting again that you will create a healthy baby. He's just starting to squirm, so before he wakes up, if you'd like, go and check out my 28-day fertility yoga course. So that will help you with coming down from the stress and will guide you through a lot of the practices that I've spoken about today. If you're just interested in the yoga, you can check out that 4-class pack. So that will give you the 4 classes for the different stages of the cycle. If you have any questions, if you have any conditions or things you would like a yoga class specifically for, leave it in the comments below. I love hearing about what's going on for you and helping as much as I can. Good luck on your journey. I'll be sending you love and hope. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already so that you get the next video when I hit publish, and I'll see you soon.